The FBI and Columbia County deputies raiding a Westlake home this morning. That raid in connection to an investigation into the House of Prayer.
America, the FBI just took down one of the most disturbing religious fraud schemes in recent history. 8 leaders of the House of Prayer Christian churches have been indicted in Operation False Prophet for running what prosecutors are calling a decades-long criminal enterprise that exploited veterans and their families. The leader, who's been using a stolen identity since 1983, turned his so-called church into a racketeering operation that defrauded the VA out of $23 million in education benefits. But here's the most shocking part. This wasn't just financial fraud. Federal agents say these church leaders controlled every aspect of their members' lives, arranging marriages and divorces, forcing people to live in church-owned properties, and maintaining a list of ex-church traitors who were completely cut off from their families.
The Department of Justice says 8 people got indicted on 26 charges for fraud schemes and tax matters. That includes the founder of the House of Prayer, Rony Denis, who lives in that home and was taken into custody yesterday morning.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. This case shows how predators use religious authority to exploit the most vulnerable people in our society, our veterans and their families. Let me break down this incredible case. The man that everybody knew as Rony Denis has been living under a stolen identity since 1983. According to the federal indictment, his real name is unknown and literally listed as first name unknown, last name unknown in the court documents.
According to an indictment just unsealed by the feds, the leader of House of Prayer stole the name in 1983 and used it to become an American citizen in 2002. The same year, he founded the House of Prayer Christian Churches of America.
Using this stolen identity, he became a U.S. citizen in 2022 and immediately founded the House of Prayer Christian Churches of America, along with its affiliate House of Prayer Bible Seminary. What started as a religious organization quickly became a sophisticated criminal enterprise designed to exploit veterans and their families. The FBI has been investigating this guy since 1983. That is over 40 years of suspected criminal activity. 3 years ago, they raided multiple church locations in Hinesville and other areas as part of their fraud investigation.
Now, the House of Prayer has been heavily targeted by the federal government and critics who say it's nothing but a scam, possibly a cult meant to siphon veteran benefits from the federal government. Denis founded the church in 2002 in Louisiana and later moved the headquarters to Hinesville, Georgia.
Here's how this criminal organization targeted our veterans. According to the indictment, Ron and his co-conspirators specifically recruited military personnel into their churches, then directed them to enroll in the House of Prayer Bible Seminary to access their VA education benefits.
They also accused of exploiting military personnel to use VA benefits to funnel money into church accounts.
The scheme was incredibly sophisticated. They fraudulently obtained religious exemptions from Georgia state regulators, which required that the seminary not receive federal funds. But then they turned around and applied for VA education benefits anyway, making them ineligible to maintain those exemptions. Between 2013 and 2021, seminary officers repeatedly submitted false certifications to Georgia regulators, claiming they didn't receive federal funds while they were actually collecting millions of dollars in VA payments every single year.
The House of Prayer operators exploited veterans and their families by accessing VA funds for their own enrichment.
We will aggressively pursue anyone who attempts to exploit the trust and confidence and the sacrifice that our service members have put towards and earned some of these benefits that unfortunately have been targeted and exploited.
The numbers here are absolutely staggering. Over $3 million stolen from VA education benefits for their Georgia locations alone, and more than $23.5 million total across all 5 seminary locations. Many veterans had their benefits completely exhausted without ever completing their programs. But the financial fraud was just the beginning. According to the federal indictment, these church leaders exerted extreme control over their congregants in ways that can only be described as cult-like behavior.
We were always made to feel like Rony Denis is this man of God and how he prays for everybody. And of course, we started wondering different things, why he disappeared and we weren't seeing him anymore and he wasn't interacting with the church. And stuff like that.
Former member Tiana Moreno, who was born into the church, describes how many members were manipulated from birth. She says the church leaders told them that attending public schools was forbidden, forcing families to move to church locations for approved education. The indictment also describes how leaders maintained complete control over their members' personal lives. They pressured people into arranged marriages and divorces, forced them to live in properties tied to the defendants that generated rental income, and restricted contact from family members who left the church.
The indictment goes on to describe how leaders maintained a list of ex-traitors humiliated members for perceived rule violations.
They literally kept a list of ex-House of Prayer traitors. People who had left the church were completely ostracized, and current members were forbidden from having any contact with them, even if they were their own family members. The financial exploitation went far beyond the VA benefits fraud. According to the indictment, church leaders disguised payouts themselves as expense reimbursements and love offerings, while using fraudulently obtained funds to pay for their personal credit card bills.
Over the process of time, just started to see how different things, they were just demanding more and more money out of us, and they were funding all these so-called missionary trips and asking for the members to constantly donate, and my ex-husband was giving money all the time.
Former member Tiana Moreno describes constant pressure for donations. Meanwhile, Ron was living in luxury. When FBI agents raided his mansion in a gated Westlake community, they found a 7-bedroom, 8-bath estate with a listing price of $1.6 million. This is where your veterans' education benefits were going, to fund this criminal's lavish lifestyle. The criminal enterprise included a sophisticated real estate fraud scheme. From 2004 to present, Ron and his co-conspirators recruited church members to serve as straw buyers in real estate transactions, concealing the true buyers' identities. The falsified loan applications used forged power of attorneys and created limited liability corporations to acquire and transfer properties. After seizing control of these properties, they converted them into rental homes and collected over $5.2 million in rental income between 2018 to 2020 alone.
Your voice matters. Reporting your experiences may help us uncover the scope of harm and hold all those responsible accountable. It takes exceptional courage to come forward, and we recognize that. And the FBI and our partners will do everything we can to protect you in that endeavor.
The worst part about all this is they left many of the straw buyers with damaged credit and foreclosures, while the church leaders pocketed millions of dollars in rental income and used it to fund their personal expenses. America, this case represents everything wrong with people who exploit religious faith for personal gain. For over 20 years, these criminals used the cover of religion to systematically defraud our veterans, control people's lives, and steal millions of dollars in taxpayer-funded benefits. The 8 defendants are now facing serious federal charges: conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, and racketeering. Maximum penalties include up to 30 years in prison and millions of dollars in fines. Ron alone faces additional charges for filing false tax returns. But the real tragedy here is the veterans and families whose lives were destroyed by this criminal organization. People who served our country had their education benefits stolen, their credit ruined, and their families torn apart by these predators. This case shows why we need strong oversight of organizations that receive federal benefits, especially when they target our veterans. These brave men and women earn those benefits through their service, and anyone who steals from them deserves the full weight of federal prosecution. Let me know what you guys think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.